Yo, everyone, and welcome to an I'm fanfic for you. Today, we're going to explore an interesting hypothetical scenario of what if Issei was adopted by the legendary Dark Slayer Vergil. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Now, let's start the part 1. After Dante fought Urizen in the Qlipoth tree and V merging with Urizen, the sudden power caused the merging entities made them teleport to another dimension. Hyoudou Issei, a successor of the Hyoudou family, a family that was known to worship dragons. At the age of 4, Issei lost his family in a car crash in the middle of the Christmas Eve, soon to be orphaned, until a certain white-haired man adopted him and began being an apprentice of his style. Will Hyoudou Issei inherit the will and power of Sparda? Let alone an apprentice of the legendary demon's oldest son, Vergil. Scene change. Issei Hyoudou, a boy who loved many things, his parents, robots, his family and mostly dragons. The Hyoudou bloodline had always worshipped dragons to a whole, regardless of their origins. They treat dragons as higher beings than gods, and thought of them as legendary creatures who would rule like kings. And it was no different to the new generation's Hyoudou inheritor. The family tradition would always offer their dragon statues with either money, food or anything that is valuable. It is a tradition that is a must be completed as a successor of the Hyoudou bloodline. Issei was an extremely enthusiastic child at the age of 4. He would often read legendary dragons from the tales that were written and recorded since the age of metal. Strong, fierce, intimidating beings that can make a large country tremble and fall. In the end, the dragons would be slain by a certain somebody or a certain hero of the story. And Issei did not like that. He would prefer the dragon winning regardless if it's the villain or the hero. The Hyoudou family was going back home from the celebration of the early Christmas Eve. Hyoudou Issei, the new successor, was at the back of the car playing Pokémon on his Game Boy Advance. Issei was leveling up his Bagon that he just captured. The Hyoudou patriarch, Guru Hyoudou, was driving back home after a good celebration. Guru was a marine biologist who studied marine animals as a hobby, and as a profession. Miki Hyoudou was a normal housewife for the Hyoudou family, and also to keep their child safe, and is ready to be the new successor without a problem. Guru. Honey, are you fine there? Miki. Yes dear, why do you ask? Guru. You look troubled, tell me, is there anything wrong? Miki. No, nothing dear, I was wondering on how our little ice can grow. Guru then chuckled at Miki answered. Guru. Don't be troubled dear, I'm sure we can find ways to keep him happy. After all, he is always the expressive type, he is a very honest boy. Miki. Yufu. That's true, although I can't help but worry that Issei will lose his new friend. Guru. That's true, after Irina left, he was always alone, crying sometimes alone. I feel you honey, I worry for him that he would be left lonely and heartbroken if the new boy leaves as well. Guru was very protective of his son. This generation of Hyoudous was very unlucky when it came to giving birth to a new heir. They had multiple miscarriages in a lifetime that left them broken, but as soon as Issei was born as the new heir, happiness fell upon them, thanking the dragon gods they worship and the Japanese Shinto gods for giving them a chance of redemption of their new bloodline. Issei was still playing as usual, not paying attention of the parents' chat and their worries. Little did the oblivious boy knew, he was about to inherit a relic from the Hyoudou family. A sword. Not any type of sword. A dragon's blade. Over the years, technology itself has advanced. The Hyoudou family itself was also too wealthy and had enough money to last for years on end. And they upgraded their ancestors' original crafts work, the dragon's blade, the blade that was passed down generation after generation. Originally, the blade's jagged green design was the color of a pure ruby red instead of pure emerald green, but despite the differences, the Hyoudou family was still proud of their ancestral works and will forever cherish the blessings of the dragon gods and their ancestors' blade and honor that have passed down since generations. The story of the Hyoudou's love for dragons was passed down by their ancestor was because of their older ancestor, or known as the one who crafted the original works of the dragon's blade. It was unknown of the date and time on the day their ancestor made their culture due to the older generations, deciding that it would be wise to delete the information of the day their ancestors' findings of the dragon's culture, for the reason of hiding the secrecy that have been passed down for years, and also the legendary dragons that their ancestor met from the public. Scene transition. Early Japan. The story goes as the one who crafted the dragon's blade walking into the forest to find sticks and wood for his wife. But as he was heading back home, he spotted two draconic figures. There were two dragons looking into each other, acknowledging one's presence. The red dragon that was spotted on the mountain started to talk the other black serpent-like dragon, who was looking deeply at the red dragon with anger down the hill. Red dragon. You dare challenge me once again, black. The red dragon spoke with pride and honor as the earth erupted, causing lava to flow from the mountain. Black dragon. I will reclaim what was rightfully mine, red. Red dragon. Ha. You think you could defeat me? You have already lost multiple times within our years fighting each other, and yet, you could not defeat me a single time. Pray to tell on how you could win. The red dragon mocked the black dragon. Black dragon. As long as I live, I will fight you, red. No matter the odds. I will reclaim the treasure that you stole from me. Red dragon. HMPH. Then come, try to fight me, black, or should I say Bahamut. Bahamut. As usual, Khan. Fight me. The two then fought each other, causing havoc on the mountains and forest. The Hyoudou spectator was afraid on what might happen if he were to interrupt one of the dragon's battles. The Hyoudou then ran as fast as he could to the town to warn his family and villagers. But before he could reach it, the dragons then flew to the village to start their fight, causing havoc for the villagers. The Hyoudou felt his stomach drop on what would happen to his family there. He quickly ignored the flames of the burning town and screams of the nearby people, and the nearby roars of the dragon's battle cries. Ancestral Hyoudou. Dear. Are you in there? Ancestral Hyoudou. Yes, I'm here, Katashi. I'm here. Katashi Hyoudou. Donna, please, help me grab our stuff and leave. The female Hyoudou then nodded and helped her husband to grab their stuff and leave the burning village caused by the dragon's havoc. Katashi and Donna Hyoudou then left the village and went to a nearby mountain to hide themselves from the catastrophe that was happening on the village. Both Hyoudous then looked at the majestic dragons fight endlessly to only ravage the green land to now land that is ash and dust. Normally people would be scared and run as fast as they could, but they did not. They were out of their presence. They soon broke from their dazed and started preparing inside the cave. Katashi and Donna then prepared to sleep at the mountain and planned to scavenge resources after their fight was over. Time skip. Daybreak. Both the Hyoudous then slowly woke up but soon then realized a booming voice inside the cave. It was the red dragon. Khan. Looks like the survivors have awoken, well then. Hello little bugs. Both Hyoudous felt their spine having a chill looking at the massive red dragon. Khan, the red dragon sniffed the patriarch, noticing a similar scent to the one last night. Khan. So you were the ones who was spying on our conversation. Said the dragon. Katashi. Please Lord Khan, spare me and my wife. I beg. It was not my intention to hear your conversation with the black dragon. The patriarch pleaded with full sincerity to the red dragon. The dragon looked amused at the patriarch. Khan, mind. Interesting, instead of killing them, maybe I should bless them with my affinity. Khan. Raise your head, human, I shall not slaughter your wife, I have honor as a dragon after all. Katashi felt relieved the fact that the dragon thinking left them off scot-free, but the dragon then spoke once again. Khan. In return for not killing you, I want you to inherit my blessing. Both Hyoudous then felt confused on why the dragon would bless them, until the dragon spoke on why he would rather bless them and kill them. Reasoning for that is because he wanted his legacy and his rival's legacy to be passed down into the future that will come. Both Hyoudous then agreed immediately to the dragon's offer, making the dragon more pleased to the fact they accepted their offer. It was then the dragon of Black Bahamut heard their conversation and then suddenly appeared right before his rival and the two couples. The black dragon too as well offered his blessings, so his history would also be marked with their future generations, and with them being marked by the blessings of the two dragons, they have inherited good fortune, luck, wealth from the red dragon, while the blessings of Bahamut offered the inheritance of craftsmanship. Soon the red dragon and the black dragon offered their scales. And with the inheritance of the dragon's craftsmanship, Katashi then made the dragon blade, the sword crafted out of the scales of the dragons, had the power to harness their power and summon a mirage-like image of a dragon. The colors of the power could vary, depending on the user's aura. All the inheritors' aura were the usual, black and red color. And not a single new color appeared from the successors of the Hyoudou bloodline. Scene transition. Present. Both the Hyoudou couples were chatting until they soon failed to realize an appearing truck in front of them. Crash. The impact of the truck into the car killed both the couples except Issei, who was at the back of the car unconscious. Issei. Ugh, mom, dad. Issei then removed his seatbelt and tried escaping out of the door, which he succeeded on. He then proceeded to try and check on his parents to see his mother bleeding profusely on the crash. Issei. Mom. Av. It has been 4 years ever since the Qlipoth incident. I, Vergil, the son of Sparda, am still closely observing into the new dimension I have been putted in. This dimension contains demons, fallen angels and even gods from multiple mythologies. On my first days here, I tried making my way in the normal realm by making a fake manuscript and identity with my powers as a demon. I have had multiple professions in this new world, a businessman, a company manager, but never had I found content with the jobs. They were all too simple, basic, but I always wanted to have an apprentice. Maybe opening a dojo doesn't sound too bad. Crash. I then heard a crashing noise between two cars and decided to look at the crash site. Vergil. I observed the surroundings, seeing a child trying to help his helpless mother who was bleeding profusely at the crash. The child then pleaded for help. Issei. Sir. Please. Help me and my mother, she is dying. I beg. The child then noticed my presence. Vergil. Why should I? The child then replied. Issei. Please, I beg, I would repay you with my life if you could help us. If my mother were to die without even being treated, I can't live the fact that I couldn't even help her. So please. I beg. I then had a vision of the same child who was pleading for help when I had the form of V. Yes, a child pleading for help to save him and his mother from a demon killing them. I guess this is what you feel when you are a human. I guess being a half-human counts as well. I then helped the child and his bleeding mother. Issei. Sir, my father, is he alive? The child asked in a emotionless tone. I then took a peek at the glass, seeing a man, mutilated, having a giant iron crushing his head and destroying his chest. Vergil. No, he is without a doubt dead. I advise you to not look inside if you don't want to see a bloodbath. I then looked at the boy who was crying out of helplessness and rage and hatred. Not from the truck whom killed his parents, but himself. The child thought that if he were also paying attention to the road, he would have warned his parents immediately and could have prevented one of his parents dying. Issei Hyoudou would always have a habit of blaming all the problems that were related to him. Even at this scene, the death of his parents. The cold snow began falling on both the mother and child as the blood merged with the snow-white area, creating a crimson red-like appearance on the snow. This child itself will go through like on what I went through as well. I wonder, will he survive and strive, or will he die like the rest? Not only that, I sensed a powerful energy residing within him. A raw energy then manifested at the boy's body. A greenish aura then started to manifest within him as he weeps. The aura felt so pure and raw, a shed of innocence, and a powerful being was definitely residing within him, a dragon. Time skip location. Vergil's room. Vergil's POV. After the child's grieving moments, I soon then started to research the Hyoudou family's history as a whole. Their history is very interesting, but I wondered on why no one has found out about the dragons, especially the supernaturals. But no matter. Their shrine is perfect, and the household they live in is without a doubt millionaires. The boy, Hyoudou Issei, was going to be an orphan, and the fact that he is the heir of the dragon's blade intrigues me. From the research I have collected, the Hyoudou family treats one another like brothers and sisters, never leaving one behind, and despite their natures, whether they were bad or good. And the heirs of the blade had a perfect mastery over the sword. Vergil. The spectre-like crow then appeared out from my shadows, revealing itself. Griffin. Hey Vergil. I have a feeling you're thinking and plotting of something, mind telling me? Griffin asked me. Vergil. No. Griffin. Aw, come on. Pretty please be. I then summoned a mirage blade and aimed it at Griffin. Boosh. Griffin. Ack. Hey. I was just asking. Whatever, dipshit, always pooping on the fun, huh? Have it your way then. Griffin then settled down on a chair, watching me from afar doing my research on the Hyoudou history. I soon then resumed on looking their history and the dragons they worshipped, and also the sword and the new heir's power. It's without a doubt a draconic energy. And a green one as well. Interesting, it's also proven that the previous heir's aura were never green, but the usual red and black that was blessed by the dragons. If that was the case, the child is a special case. I can't help but make him my apprentice, considering his family bloodline had talent for swordsmanship. Griffin. Heh, so you're thinking of taking the kid for yourself? Vergil. I wouldn't be so foolish to take him on my side yet. Besides, there's no guarantee the fact the child has the heart to slay anybody. What I saw was nothing more than a child who wanted nothing more than a jolly family. In the end, that accident caused his little dream to fall. Griffin then scoffed at my response. Griffin. Geez, always so cold, aren't you? At least give the kid some empathy. Kid's gonna go through something in life that he isn't supposed to. I then looked at Griffin with my left eyebrows raised. Griffin. What? Just because I sound like an asshole sometimes doesn't mean I'm completely heartless like you. Vergil. HMPH, whatever you shall say, Griffin. I then let out a small smile, enough for Griffin to not see it. Griffin. GRRR. Whatever, you always get the best of me. Vergil. Obviously, since you almost talk like my idiotic brother. Griffin. Dante. Heh, well, I guess you're not wrong, but hey. I'm a different being, you know. I then let out a small chuckle from the little tantrum Griffin was having. Vergil. Mind. I wonder on what child is doing right now. Possibly in their shrine, grieving of the death of both his mother and father. Griffin. Hey Vergil, what are you thinking about? Vergil. The child's power and potential is very interesting. In the future, if he possibly wields one of those sacred gears, he would without a doubt have a chance to beat me and Dante in our fullest power. Griffin. Whistles, really? Darn, this is a first where you came to acknowledge another person's power and resilience. Going softy, Vergi. I then scoffed at Griffin's response, summoning another Mirage blade and throwing it at him once more. Whoosh, whip. The blade almost landed on Griffin's head, causing him to have a sudden outburst. Griffin. Hey. That's across the line, Dumbus. What did I do to you? I was simply trying to calm down the mood here, maybe you should try doing it sometimes as well, Dumbus. Vergil. I don't need it, didn't ask for it. Griffin. TSK. I then continued to wonder for the child's potential when it came to power, and also if he really is ready to be my first apprentice. This might also a chance for me to understand on how to be a father. Apparently in schools, students are basically put in a second home and sees teachers as second parents. I never really had good history when it came to my illegitimate child. He never even knew of my existence and neither did I until recently on our fight in the Qlipoth tree. Maybe this might be a chance to experience something new and a redemption. I then took a long sigh planning on what I should do to the child. I then stood up and began to grab my equipment and the Yamato. Griffin. Vergil. Where you going at this time of night? Vergil. The child, obviously, apparently their household is a Hyoudou, and it's not that far from here. I just need to hide my power from anyone noticing, especially yakais, those species are extremely cunning. Time skip location. Hyoudou shrine. Issei's path. It's been an entire day ever since mother and father's death was confirmed. I don't know what to do. If grandma and grandpa were here, I would usually ask them but they're gone as well, like mother and father. I then went to our shrine near our household that held our family relic, the dragon's blade. I then knelt and offered a golden rings that belonged to my mother and father. I then began to prepare the offering, as I then laid down the golden ring on the pillow at the center of the shrine's offering plate. I then lit up the incense and started to pray to the gods, whether it'd be the biblical god, Shinto, dragons. I at least wanted a response from the divine beings that humans have always believed and worshipped, and I was no different. Issei, mind. The gods residing in this world, please answer my pleads. Why did my father and mother deserve such death? Was it because I was too weak to wield the relic? As I was continuing my prayers to the shrine, the black and red-like aura then appeared, manifesting on the sword. I did not notice of its presence because I was too focused on my prayers and to seek answers for my griefs. The aura then merged into a large ball making a dark red color. The ball then slowly approached me as it sparkled power. As the power made contact with my body, it simply merged within me and it made me feel strong. A lot more stronger than usual. I then opened my eyes to see the sword emitting the dark and red aura. I then panicked on what was happening. Issei. What's going on? I exclaimed. The power then slowly detached itself from me as it went back to the sword. As the power then returned to the sword, the entire shrine then shined a bright green emerald light as it blinded everybody on the scenery. After the flash ended, the green energy was then transferred to the dragon blade as a green mirage-like dragon appeared at the blade's tip approaching me. I was so scared to the point I wouldn't even dare to move to the moving ghost dragon going near me. I closed my eyes praying that I would be fine. The dragon then came near my chest. Boom. Whoosh. The dragon and its power then merged with me again as green dragon marking appeared at my right arm. The power surging within me felt extremely good. I felt I could go fighting random delinquents for days and wouldn't even be exhausted. The mirage dragon then appeared once more from the marking. It then slowly made its way for our sacred relic, the dragon's blade. It wanted me to wield the blades. I then took the blade and another sword that was on display. I soon then tried to do sword plays as I tried to master the dragon's dance. I then sheathed the sword at my back ready to unleash the dragon in one go. I took a deep breath, trying to harness the dragon's power and the blade in my soul. My eyes glowed in deep emerald light and my body radiated a green energy. I then drew the sword in a fast-paced movement, spinning my blade as I summoned the dragon. Imagine if it was a 4-year-old Issei wielding the blade. Issei. Take the blade of the dragon god. I completed it, I did it, I unlocked my aura. I achieved like what my ancestors could do. The dragon then resided in the marking it left on my arm after exhausting myself for using the technique. Time skip location. Vergil's path. Incredible, so this is what the true powers of the dragon's blessing is. As I also imagined, the child is a prodigy. He has not only mastered his ancestors' talents, but also made himself a new power, his aura. Griffin. Hey Vergil, you think the kid's talking about the two dragon gods? Vergil. I doubt so, that aura doesn't feel infinity or illusionary, it's simply a dragon that has enormous power and energy. Griffin. Then why did he added the dragon gods in his chant? Vergil. I have no clue, but it may be because they worship all dragons as gods, regardless if they're weak or not, a dragon is simply a dragon. I explained to Griffin. Griffin. Heh, is that so? Then are you considering of taking him as your apprentice, B? I then thought about what the possibilities are if I did end up taking the child. Then again, after merely observing him, he already has inherited their talent for swords. He just merely lacks style. If I were to teach him, he might just be the perfect student. Griffin. He thought so. Anyways, we should head back. We don't want the yokais spotting us. Vergil. Agreed. We then ventured back to my apartment as I begun to think of ways to train the child and let him use the dragon's blade properly. Apparently there are two styles of it. One is called the swift style. As the name suggests, it's for swift slashes and elegant hits, soft, but extremely dangerous if mastered properly. The other style is called burst style. The burst style, as the name suggests again, is for high-powered moves. It is basically sheathing the sword on your hip and immediately unsheathing it with all of the wielder's strength while doing a slow combo. Even if the user were to use this style untrained, it could even cleave a limb easily. The styles I researched from the boys clan is very interesting, but I usually prefer swift plays on my sword techniques. Vergil. Interesting. Well then, Issei Hyoudou, till we meet again, soon you will become my apprentice. Vergil. Griffin, we shall monitor of his daily basis. Griffin. You sure you're down stalking the poor kid? At least give the kid space, he did lose his family after all. Vergil. Foolishness, I want to try and find out what he will try to do now he finally unlocked his draconic powers with the dragon blade. Well, blessing is a more accurate way of saying it. Time skip location. Hyoudou Manor, Cherry Blossom Garden. Of. Issei. It has been 2 days ever since I fully inherited the dragon's blade. Some people were amazed that I had fully inherited it at such a young age. Normally my ancestors took at least at the age of 13 years for the blade to acknowledge its wielder. And with that in mind, some other people from other kendo teams or dojos challenged me for the blade and asked for proof on how I inherited it. I showed them the green dragon mark, fully convincing some except a few bad apples, but nothing really happened until now. Hyoudou Issei, I challenge you to a duel for the rights of the dragon blade. I was then disturbed with my meditation from a sound of a duel. Issei. Is that so? I then answered back before getting up. Issei. Then care to tell me your name before we prepare? The white-haired boy nodded, preparing to introduce himself. I am Vali, this generation's White Dragon Emperor. White Dragon. Emperor. It can't be. The person in front of me wields Albion. Issei. Then I suppose you know me well, right, Vali? Vali. Yes, you are Issei Hyoudou, the last member of the Hyoudou clan that worship dragons. Issei. Then would you be so kind to tell me on why you want the sword so badly? Surely it's not something for foolish acts, is it? Vali then suddenly got ticked off because I assumed he was going to use it for not a good reason. Vali. Hey. What do you mean by that? Issei. As I told you, what are you planning on using the dragon's blade for? Vali then gripped his hands tightly, lowering his head down. Vali. I need it to save somebody. I then rose my brow on what the hacker Yuku suddenly answered. Issei. Save somebody, can you at least be more specific? Vali. A bad man has my mother captive, I need to save her. Issei. But aren't you the White Dragon Emperor? Surely that's more than enough reason for you to take out that specific person. Vali then shook his head before responding. Vali. No. You don't understand what it means. Issei. To have your family taken. I interrupted Vali. Issei. You do realize whom you're talking to, right? I do too, lost my family, not only my mother but my father as well. My voice had a lingering rage in it. For him to assume to not know on how it feels to lose my family is a big insult. But that's not how mother or father would want me to act, would they? If I attacked him right then and there, I could have ended the entire ordeal, but at the same time, I have pride when it comes to my household. No matter what, if I attack the hacker Yuku with underhanded tactics, my family's style will be tarnished. I worship and love dragons to a whole, but once mother told me about the story of the white and red dragon, it reminded me of our own dragons that we worshipped in the end of the story. Both dragons made up and died peacefully in our legends, but for the heavenly dragons, they are far different than our dragons. I then think to myself, if I were to use the dragon's blessing against the hacker Yuku, who would win? Will my dragon win against the formidable divine dividing gear? Issei. Anyways, enough talking, we shall settle this once and for all. Follow me, I shall lead the way for the arena. Vali then broke out of his daze and nodded. I soon then led Vali to our stadium outside. With the Hyoudou family's funds, we were able to afford such a grand place. Vali then looked at awe on such a stadium. Issei. Anyways. Shall we begin? I then asked, making my stance on my place. Vali then looked at me, shaking his head before summoning his divine dividing and went to his spot. Vali. Divine dividing. Cheeing. Vali. Let me show you a true dragon's power, Issei Hyoudou. Issei. Then come, fight me. Issei. Let's dance. We both then charged at each other. Issei volley. Hiya. I then unsheathed my blade using the burst style that my father showed me when he was training back then. I then swung my sword 3 times up and down and charged a 4th hit with the dragon's power as Volley was trying to block the attacks with his barrier only to fail, receiving wounds on both of his arms. Hatchink. I then sheathed my ready to unleash the last blow. I then unsheathed it with all my strength in it. Issei. Hiya. I screamed before I hit Volley's barrier, but this time the barrier managed to block my attack. Volley then pushed me using his magic before starting to divide my power. Volley. Divide. Divide. The voice boomed as I slowly felt my power being reduced. Before I could even try anything, Volley then sent a ball of energy right towards me. I then dashed using my blade to avoid it easily. Volley. Divide. Divide. Volley then divided my power again, but at the same time, he had a limit. He can't use divide forever, considering he is the exact same age as me, meaning his power reserves can only do so much before it actually fails. I then decided to retaliate by dashing at him, sheathing my blade for a hit. Volley then decided to try and use the same trick by baiting me with his barriers, but I then dashed again to his left, forcing me to use my charged blade to get behind him to strike. I then managed to get behind him and land a devastating attack behind him with a charged burst. Volley. Gah. Volley then screamed in agony. It made a large gash on his back, causing him to almost faint due to blood loss. I feel pity for him. He is sacrificing so much just to save another. He is a kind fellow, and that is why he must live for it. A Hakuryuku being selfish is not a rare thing. In fact, it's a common thing, but selfish to save another. That's quite rare. Issei. Volley, I'm sorry, but you can no longer fight. Please admit defeat. Maybe there's another way for me to help. I don't want to kill you just for you to stop pestering me, so please, just admit defeat. Volley then fell to the ground panting until a loud voice boomed on the wings. Albion. Volley, consider his offer. Having the Hyoudo's help unto itself is a miracle. I think this probably due to the fact despite we're enemies, he still looks up high on us draconic beings. Issei. My greatest honor to meet you, Albion, the White Dragon Emperor. Albion. So sincere. Hello there, young Hyoudou. It's a pleasure to meet you as well, but for now, I think my wielder hit his limits. He can no longer fight. Issei. Seems so. We'll just have to wait for his response later on, huh? Albion. Indeed, if you don't mind me asking you a favor, can you treat my host? Issei. Why not? Besides, I would rather have peace than violence. I really was never the fighting type. Albion. Hahaha. To say such thing even though unlocking such power and talent at an early age, you surely are a softie, aren't you? I then felt embarrassed at the mention of me being a softie. Well, it's not like he was wrong. Either way, he then broke out of his daze and started to take into action. Time skip. 1 hour later. Location. Hyoudo's Manor Clinic. Volley was being treated by Issei. Issei managed to take off Volley's shirt to bandage the large wound and also managed to convince him to drink painkillers. Volley. Thanks, Sir Hyoudou. Issei. No problem, but also drop a sir thing, it makes me feel old despite being 4. I said cheerfully, trying to reduce the awkward atmosphere. Issei. But either way, will you consider my offer? I will not hand over my blade to you, but I can definitely assist you in the future. Volley then regained hope in his eyes. Volley. Really? Issei. Count on me, Volley. As I reached out my hand for a fist bump with a smile. Issei. Come on, give him a bump. Volley then gave me a fist bump. A new friendship has been acquired from this day on. The Hakuryuku is now my ally. Of change. Vergil. Griffin. Whoa. That kid kicked the Hakuryuku's ass. Okay, now you gotta have him in your roster, V. Vergil. Indeed, he has shown enough proof for me to accept him as my apprentice. Griffin. So when we gonna act? Vergil. The perfect time. Griffin. Please be a little more specific. I then sighed. Vergil. I mean by when the authorities decides to take action, and then we will take him in, although the Hakuryuku might alarm bells for Issei, considering that Hakuryuku is definitely not normal. That energy he just used was demonic. If he is capable of sensing different energies, he might alarm the Hyoudou. Griffin. Yeah, it's a half-breed. Ironic, right? You and Dante have white hair, are half-breeds and extremely powerful, and that kid has white hair and potentially the strongest user ever. Haha. Darn, I never thought I would see the day where your doppelgangers would be present in the same universe, but here we are. Vergil. I assure you I can summon my doppelganger anytime. I huffed back. Griffin. Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about real doppelgangers, like ones that ain't a ghost and an actual being. I then sighed again as I commanded him to fall back after seeing the duel between the dragon users. Vergil, mind. Cruel, irony and power, one of the many rules that this world has, Hyoudou Issei, I will make sure that they will not forget this dragon's power, just wait a little longer. Issei's pav. After the entire ordeal of me and Vali, we decided to live with each other for a bit, but turns out, in the end, he just ended up staying with me the entire time in our manor. Issei. Nah, Vali. Vali. What is it, Ice? Issei. I thought you were only gonna stay here for a couple of days, and mostly leave when you recover, so I'm not telling you to leave or anything, but I kinda assumed that you're living on a place since you managed to track me and my family down, or is it because Albion told you? Vali then sighed and answered. Vali. Yeah, that's true. I do have a place that I'm currently staying at. Vali then had a grim face with a forced smile. I felt that he had a tad bit of loneliness in those eyes and decided it's best for him to stay with me. After all, he has not left my side, not even a second. I do not know if I should be awkward of the fact he has not given me a single free time or left by my side, but it's probably he is lonesome. I don't mind the company, though it's just unsettling the fact the so-called White Dragon Emperor can be this reliant or attached to someone, but then again, he told me his past about his relatives being very abusive, so this I would say is natural. Issei. Heh, you have nothing to worry, Vali, I did promise to help you after all. Vali. Yeah, thanks, Ice. Issei. Think nothing of it, after all, we've been together almost the entire time ever since you came in here, so there's nothing to worry about, only thing we gotta worry is our enemies. That's right. Enemies. Since I've fought the White Dragon Emperor, it's only normal for the news to leak out of nowhere, and our main priority is power, because without it, you cannot protect anything. And that is one of the cruel laws of the supernatural. Normally for a normal human who has no knowledge at all, only has to go through the grueling challenges of life, nothing too exciting or too special, just the average person you see every day walking on the public streets. But enough explanations, our main goal right now is to learn or unlock our abilities as soon as possible before enemies comes and attack us on our flanks, let alone the hacker Yuku is living with me, there is without a doubt a hunt for him, or at least that's what I think it is, also he said he was living somewhere. It can't be on his family's homes considering he doesn't want to live in a toxic environment. Where does he live? Well, not that matters, but anyways, I'm going to need to tell him that we gotta improve as quick as we can. Issei. Anyways, Vali. Vali. What is it, Ice? Issei. I think we have to train with each other, cause right now, whether we like it or not, we're in the supernatural's presence. Sooner or later, people will hunt you down, just like how you hunted me for the sword. Vali then got surprised by my suggestion. I wasn't wrong, there are a few people out there that do want his head, not to mention, he has the potential to become the most powerful hacker Yuku, past and present, those magic he used at me weren't for show, it truly had power, that's for sure. Albion. We should do it, Vali, the more stronger we are, the faster we unlock the balance breaker. Albion suggested. Issei. Ah, right, I forgot about the balance breaker. Anyways, since you need to unlock your balance breaker, I need to train my stamina and control with the dragon. Also my moves aren't that fluent. If I were to fight a veteran or someone who has even a little knowledge of combat, they can without a doubt counter me with ease, or won't let their guard down. Vali then nodded and decided to agree with my terms. Vali. But. How are we gonna train exactly? Vali questioned. Issei. What do you mean? We train like any normal person would do, only difference is there are magic involved and dragons. I obviously want to take control of the dragon more, and you should be training your stamina for your power to divide, and to try and get your balance breaker, is it not a clear enough goal? Vali was about to speak until he decided to keep it to himself, knowing that everything I just said was basically right and decided to go on the flow. Vali's pav. Vali then took a deep sigh. Vali, mind. Man. Albion took notice of Vali's worry and decided to question him. Albion. What is it, Vali? Are you not satisfied on having a person to rely on in such a long time? Vali, mind. It's not that, it's just, I don't know on how to get stronger most of the time, I mostly relied on ice. Albion. Don't be ashamed on relying on others, it's only natural to feel lost at first sight, but as long as you keep walking the road you chose, soon, you will find the thing you would want to strive and fight for. Selfishness in this world is everywhere and always active, after all you are the descendant of Lucifer himself, you're a hybrid between a human and a devil. So it's not surprising you would always feel so selfish for yourself. Vali, mind. That's true. Vali then made a smile to Albion's words of encouragement. All in his life, Albion was the only one that guided him, with the exception of his mother, who is currently held captive, and Vali knows who the people are, and with his newfound ally, he now has the willpower to get stronger and be with his friend, ally or foe. His perspective for Issei will never change. He respects Issei in the highest regards, and he has not seen a single power who has such willpower at such a young age. Issei, on the other hand, was extremely disciplined to be a heir, so no matter what happens, he will remain calm and collective, like what a leader should be. He hopes that he can be like Issei in the future as well, having his own team to fight for their freedom and rights. Even if it was against God himself or every pantheon, he would lead a crusade for their rights of the ones who were wrongfully exiled. But for now, that was his least concerns. For now he needed power, a power to be unrivaled with, and he will claim it no matter the cost. If it was for his dreams, he would offer everything for it. Issei then noticed my new motivation to keep moving forward. Issei. Heh, what's got you so fired up, Vali? Think you can be as strong as me? Vali. Heh, just you wait, Ice. Soon I will surpass you too as the strongest white dragon emperor. Issei. I'll be waiting for your goal to be achieved. I wouldn't mind having a clash with you at our fullest peak. If I lose, it means that I was still far too weak to challenge you, but to beat the strongest white dragon emperor, I wonder, would that make my dragon a new heavenly dragon as well? I did just beat the strongest divine dividing wielder after all. Albion then noticed Issei's words and decided to humor him. Albion. Hahaha, keep walking, child. Sooner or later you will face us both with our fullest potential. If you want your dragon to have the title of the new heavenly dragon, then come, fight us with all your might. Hyoudou Ice. Issei then made a giant grin filled with excitement and determination. Issei. Just you wait, Albion. Wait till you see that our dragons can be as powerful as you guys or even outright defeat you. Albion. We will see in the future, young Hyoudou, but for now, you have to keep your priorities on getting stronger. You cannot beat us if you aren't strong after all. Issei. That's true, nah, Vali. Vali. Ice. Issei. In the future promise me that you will fight me in our strongest peak. Vali then made an amused smile. Vali. Sure, I can't have my pride sully as a white dragon emperor after all. Issei. Then it's decided. Our new rivalry is now decided, Ice. I hope I can be someone like you in the future, a leader fighting against for his ideals. Soon, I will reach that mountain that I have been yearning to climb. I will soon reach you, Issei. Just wait for me up there, no matter where we go, and where we part ways. I will promise that soon, we will meet each other again. Vali. Anyways, how do you think we should start training together? Issei. We have to find our flaws first, Vali. Vali. Right. Our flaws. But I don't know any of my flaws at all. Issei then smacked his head and took a deep sigh. Issei. Sigh, Vali. I meant observing our fighting styles. It's obvious that my fighting styles are going to be harder to master and find the pieces to fit in the missing puzzle, but for you, it's clearly obvious that you have the divine dividing, a relic that has been recorded for history. It's obvious that you can just easily ask Albion for advices and ask on how his previous users mastered the divine dividing. Also, you have magic. For a child, that's quite rare. We can definitely say that we are prodigies, all the more reason that people are gonna want our heads. Issei said. Vali. But still, aren't I in a disadvantage? After all, you have a weapon that you can use on close quarter range. Issei. Oh Vali, dear, have you forgotten you can summon barriers to shield you? Not only that, you also have the powers to make a destructive ball of energy to be on offense. If anything, you're actually more balanced than I am. For me, I have to get near an opponent to even scratch them. A sword isn't always enough, Vali, sometimes. You have to master your senses and abilities before giving the grades. It's like school. Albion was amazed on how the child was so wise and intelligent at such a young age. He even reckons that someday, the child's dragons will really be the third heavenly dragon to be recorded if he manages to keep this up. Vali. But I haven't been to school. Issei. Sigh. Still, you do get my point, right? I then nodded to his question. Issei. Alright, that's more than enough to keep us going. Location. Outside the Hyoudou Manor. Of. Vergil. Vergil. So the child and the white dragon decided to ally with each other for now. Griffin. Yep, seems so. You think we should deal with the hacker Yuiku while he is still young? Vergil. Absolutely not. Griffin was surprised at Vergil's answers. Most of the time Vergil will power through anything if anything was keeping something on what he wants at bay, and now, he is willing to wait for something he deeply desires. What turn of events? Griffin then noticed someone approaching the Hyoudou Manor, a little boy. What would a little boy be doing at the Hyoudou Manor? Griffin. Hey, VV. I then sighed at Griffin's callings. Vergil. Sigh. What is it, Griffin? Griffin. There's a boy going to the home of dragons V, should we stop the kid? Vergil. Remain calm, Griffin. I then observed at the boy going through the pavement path to the Hyoudou Manor. The child had aqua green eyes and with a hair color of dark blue that borders black and also twin short braids that fade into aqua at the tips, wearing a green cap, green shorts, a jacket under the shirt. The child also carried a backpack that had the design of wings on each side of the bag. I hope Issei isn't too sad that he lost his parents. Mother and father told me to check up on him if he is fine. I too worry for Issei's mental and physical health. Sigh. All I can do is check up on him from time to time. So the child is acquainted with the Hyoudou? For a boy the child surely looks more of a girl from a normal person's perspective. Maybe it's just me, but it's not that important. Besides, it's rare for a random visitor going to the Hyoudous considering they are royal, and most royals are not allowed to make contact with lower title civilians. It's possible that the child is also a royal. That's right. The dark blue eyes, tealish color tips for hair, that's without a doubt clan that is affiliated with the Hyoudous. If I remember correctly, they are the clan of winds, the K's no Ikjin na Mono clan, a clan that symbolizes winds, lightness and freedom. Maybe the Hyoudou and the K's no Ikjin na Mono clan already figured out the affinity of Hyoudou Issei's affinity with the green dragon. Green dragons in Chinese legends mainly depicts them of having the powers to control wind and rain and change the weather forecast or the directions of the winds, which results in the typhoons, storms, etc. If that was the case, then the so-called boy, a possible heir of the K's no Ikjin na Mono, have the powers to also control wind. Interesting, that's truly incredible, two clans collaborating due to one's affinity of both heirs, mainly, if this was for politics to have a better and stronger heir with more value. They would have an engagement marriage immediately and to settle it, but this time it seems both of the clans decided to collaborate with each other, considering both heirs are male and mostly desired good relationship with each other for future politics and personal reasonings. Interesting history, I shall observe this more. I have never seen or predict such an outcome before. Out of all my time of living and teaching, this is by far the most interesting and engaging things I have ever witnessed. The child then knocked on the door on the Hyoudou manor. Ice, come out, I want to speak with you. Location. Inside the Hyoudou manor. Issei. I heard a knock on the door, I wonder who's that. Ice, come out, I want to speak with you. It can't be Kelly. I then ran as fast as I could to the door, hoping that my prediction was right. Kelly, my best friend in all of my entire childhood. I never once had any friends due to me being a royal. They would be too scared, too formal. But once, have they never ever called me out by my normal name, except one person, which is my childhood friend. Issei. Kelly. I then opened the door excitingly to see Kelly in front of my doorstep. Kelly. Issei. We then hugged each other. I have missed Kelly ever since mother and father passed away. He would always give me the smile that cheered my bad days, and unironically has a good voice for singing. He would oftenly sing for me when we're bored of when we always sat down below a tree looking at the clouds and counting stars. Kelly. Issei, how have you been? I was so worried on what will happen to you. Kelly then started to shed tears for me. He was worried for me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Kelly. I swear that I will protect you no matter the cost. Issei. Do not cry, Kelly, I am fine, and I assure you that I will always be alright, okay? I then wiped away the tears from Kelly's eyes. Kelly then grabbed my arm and hugged me while weeping on my chest. I guess he was really worried, huh? Kelly. I'm sorry, Ice. I'm sorry for not being there when you needed us. He then tightly gripped my shirt while still crying. Issei. It's fine, Kelly, I understand if you and your family was busy, I do not blame you. Kelly. But still, I should have at least called you when you needed me and my family the most. I then felt my heart skip a beat. What is this feeling? My friend's a guy. Why am I feeling such emotions right now? Surely I'm not gonna be ending up gay, right? Wait, what am I thinking? I'm supposed to comfort him, he's my friend after all, I can worry about it later on. When I was about to comfort Kelly, she then grabbed my arm and looked at me with teary eyes. Kelly. Call me when you need me, okay? Issei. Yeah. I will. After a flash of moment, he then hugged me tightly and he kissed me. What is going on? I then slowly moved away my face from Kelly and decided to ask him. Issei. Kelly. Were you always a girl? Kelly then looked at me with his teary eyes with a look that said that I was an idiot. He then punched me lightly in the chest before covering his face on my chest. Kelly. Idiot. She muttered. Ah, so she really was a girl, huh? Man, I feel such an idiot. Vergil. While I was observing the moment, I actually felt somewhat surprised that the child was actually a girl, but then again the name Kelly does give it away. Oh well, that still doesn't matter, I'm only interested on their abilities after all. Griffin. Ha 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 ha. Man, after all this time the kid didn't even knew his childhood friend was a girl, ha, man, what a joke, even the name gave it away. Oh man, this is so funny. Vergil. Is it? Doesn't look that funny to me. Griffin. Ah, man, way to kill the mood, Vergil. Vergil. Stop calling me with your nicknames, I have a name, you know. I then took Issei and decided to make my move. It's now or never. I must have him as an apprentice no matter the cost. Vergil. It's about time we make our scene, Griffin. Griffin. About time, eh? Finally, been tired of waiting for this moment. Alright V, make the call. Of. Issei. After an awkward moment with Kelly, we decided to sit down behind a tree. Kelly was hugging my arm and laying her head on my neck as we look on the clouds, counting, watching them slowly as they pass by. The winds blow, the rain falls, nature sings to our surroundings. Kelly. It's beautiful, isn't it, Ice? Issei. Yeah. A cherry blossom leaf then fell down on Kelly's head. Kelly. Oh. I then grabbed the leaf as I let the wind blow it away. Issei. Cherry blossoms are cool, aren't they? Kelly. Yeah, they are my favorite type of trees, their color are so beautiful and matches the scene in spring on evenings. Issei. Yeah, they are very beautiful. Kelly. Hey Ice, I have a question for you. Issei. What is it? Kelly. What do you think of our world? Issei. Our world. I don't think I get your question. She then swayed her head before responding. Kelly. Sorry, my bad, I meant by what do you think of its purpose and all of the people living in it. I then went into a deep state of thinking, the world the world itself is beautiful, our existence unto itself is a big miracle, humans have evolved for billions of years, now creating their own civilization of machines, buildings and implementing their own ideals, we were given freedom and creativity. But at the same time, with such creativity and cunning results, comes with great responsibilities. People use their gifts to be power hungry, corrupted, only using it for themselves. People call them the bad, while the others use their powers to help people, to sustain their life by making it easier and fighting for equal rights and stuff, but in the end, there isn't really right nor wrong, and all beings themselves are selfish, yes, even angels and God himself. After all, he created us out of whim and gave us all of his blessings to live freely, unshackled, but without restrictions. To such power leads to destruction to others. Our lives are nothing but a dull purpose, just to live, experience and die. The cycle will keep repeating until all nothing is left, until the world starts to stop. Gods, angels, mythological beings would slowly die until nothing is left but a barren wasteland. A never-ending cycle of life and death and misery. Yes, that is our purpose, to create history for ourselves or to die out in the dust. Life without struggle is boring, but some struggles can lead to tragic ends. A world of cruelty, misery and endless sufferings. Issei. I would have to say that our lives are extremely tragic. I won't go in depth on why, but let's just say that our lives are dull, go crazy once in a while, but sometimes the better the feeling, the more sad you will become when you realize that the feeling will go sooner or later. Kelly. That's very specific, Ice. You've changed a lot. Issei. That's true, ever since mother and father passed away, I started to act more mature. I'm only 4 years old and I'm already thinking like an adult. I should enjoy my youth more. That's right, I should enjoy my youth, but since the awakening of my dragon became public, sooner or later people will try to hunt me down as well, just like what Vali did. I need to be strong, just in case someone will try to hunt me and Vali down. But sometimes, days like these are good. Kelly. Anyways, hey Ice. Issei. Yeah, Kelly. Kelly. Can you show me your dragon? Like, when I heard the rumors I couldn't help but see your dragon. They said that you were a prodigy among your family bloodline and you managed to make a green dragon instead of the usual black and red ones. Issei. Heh, it's not like I can do that easily, you know. I have to use all of my strength to even reveal the dragon. I still need training. Kelly. Kelly. Ow, can you at least show me? She then made a pout. Issei. Haha, sorry Kelly, but no can do. Kelly. Oh well darn. That's quite alright I guess. Issei. Once I get stronger Kelly, once I'm stronger, just you wait. Kelly. You better keep your promise Ice. Issei. I will. We then kept looking at the beautiful scenery, the grass, and the cherry blossoms color shines brighter when you have a friend with you. Kelly then suddenly asked me. Kelly. Hey Ice. Issei. Yeah, Kelly. Kelly. Can I ask you a question one more time? Issei. Go ahead. Kelly. Can I stay with you forever? Adam. I never really expected her to say that, but I had a feeling it was bound to happen when I finally realized that she was actually a girl. I can't help but think if I should be happy or be confused, but at the same time, my feelings are true for her, so what's my answer? Issei. Kelly. Kelly. Issei. Will you always be looking for me forever, even when I'm not there? Kelly. Of course Ice, out of all the people I've met, you're the only I considered the most. Issei. Thanks Kelly, but to answer your previous question. Kelly then suddenly had a look of nervousness, she also had a look of almost crying. Ugh man. What should I do? Ugh. Kelly, I swear someday I might actually take you for myself if I actually fall for you. Issei. I'll happily accept your offer. Kelly then made a face of happiness and hugged me tightly. Kelly. Yay, thank you so much Ice. She was hugging me so tight to the point I felt my bones are being crushed. How strong was she? Issei. Hey Kelly. Stop, I can't breathe. Kelly. Oh, sorry. She then let me go out of her dangerous hug grasp as I began to take a deep breath of air. Issei. Arg. That kinda hurt you know. Kelly then chuckled at me as I let out a sigh. Issei. You sound like as if I were to accept your offer you're actually bound with me forever. Kelly. Yup. What? Wait, yup. What does that mean? I haven't even met her parents yet and now I'm already suddenly engaged. Issei. But wait, I haven't even met your parents yet, so how am I already bound to you? Kelly. Mama and Papa decided that they were going to reveal that I was actually a girl to your family, but it seems they became too late, but after then they sent me to check up on you. They told me that if you were to accept my words, we are going to be bound with each other. I then made a mental note to always ask her if her parents also was in if she asked me personal questions in the future. Vergil. Griffin. Well isn't that lovely? Vergil. Sigh. So, another lively visitor appears in front of my apprentice, let alone they are going to be married now. Griffin. Why can't you just ask the kid that you'll just adopt him and inherit the name of the Hyoudous, after all you are extremely talented with your katana. Vergil. That may pose to a problem politically considering him an outsider, and also him not even related to them. Griffin. Just convince the little guy. I then sighed and decided to go with Griffin's plan for once, maybe it won't be as bad as I thought it will. Issei. After our moment in the tree we decided to head back to my house and to announce Volley about our relationship, but honestly I hope their parents would wait for us to grow up before actually committing to it. Issei. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you I met a new friend. Kelly. Who's the new friend? She asked excitingly, sigh. Oh Kelly, what am I gonna do with you? Issei. It's the White Dragon Emperor. Kelly. For real? Issei. I had a feeling you would be reacting like crazy, you always loved the legends of the heavenly dragons, don't you? Kelly. Obviously, they were cool in the stories, and the fact it took 3 factions and God himself to kill them is a big achievement unto itself. Issei. I guess so, he is also my rival. Soon Kelly, you will witness that my dragon can be a heavenly dragon as well. He tried fighting for my blade, but I actually managed to beat him. He has some sort of talent for magic as well. He might be the most powerful hacker Yuku both past and future. Kelly. That's so cool. I then chuckled at her excitement to meet Volley, but then again it's to be expected, you don't get to see a heavenly dragon being civilized. After a few moments of walking on the streets, we saw a mysterious man. The man had white hair, with a deep blue coat fabric, wearing a black body leather suit and wears boots that are meant for style and combat with a silver accents that matches his motifs on his coat, and also carries a katana. That katana is no ordinary katana, that katana is extremely dangerous. It exudes such aura and precision, I can tell that this man is an extremely powerful entity. He has a calm stoic appearance that shows no weaknesses and no emotions. I then suddenly feel my body tremble and my legs falling weak, just staring into this man's appearance. Kelly, then soon realized my scared expressions filled with worry and fear. Kelly. Ice. I then snapped out of my daze. Issei. Sorry about that. Kelly. It's because of that man isn't it? Issei. Yeah, that man gives me an odd vibe, it feels very odd. Kelly then nodded to my explanation. Kelly. Yeah, he has this weird vibe nearing with him. The man then noticed that we acknowledged his presence and began walking towards us. Kelly then started to feel scared thinking that this man would kill us. She was on the verge of crying just because her fears started drowning her mind. The man then finally stopped walking because he was right in front of us. Vergil. Hello there young Hyoudou, it's a pleasure to meet you. The man said. Issei, mind. This man how did he track us here? The man then tilted his head in a confused manner. Vergil. Are you not going to talk and make your guest wait? He scoffed while crossing both of his arms. Issei then nervously started to talk to this mysterious man. Issei. Can I help you sir? The man made a small smile for us to notice before he started to talk. Vergil. Right. Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself, my apologies young Hyoudou, my name is Vergil Sparda. Vergil Sparda. What a weird name but it can't be helped since it's the man's personal life. Issei. Right, so Mr. Vergil, what can I help you out in this evening? Vergil. I suppose we can talk about it in your manor. Issei, mind. Our manor. This man wants to talk to our manor. Vali would without a doubt not hesitate to attack Sir Vergil, but if I manage to convince him, then maybe. Issei. I'm sorry to ask Sir Vergil, but why do we need to go our manor to sort this one out? Can we not just talk out here? The man then paused for a bit after I responded. Vergil. Sigh. I suppose you're right. Alright, it'll get straight to the point. Hyoudou Ice, I want you to be my apprentice and adopt you. But why are there so many things happening in one day? Issei. Sir Vergil, you do know what you would have to do when adopting me, right? The man then nodded. That's right, if any case the heir's parents were to die out in the Hyoudou family and the heir was a minor, is still not capable of taking him or herself for the rest of their lives, people can challenge the heir for a dual or a relative for the rights of the adoption. If the person who tried adopting the heir won, then that person would inherit royalty and the royal family's surname Hyoudou. Issei. Then shall we? The man then nodded, grabbing his katana readying to fight. Issei. Kelly, you stand back and be the witness for this. If this man wishes to inherit the title of the Hyoudou, then so be it, he shall challenge me. You will record this match. You have your phone, right? Kelly then nodded and started to nervously back away and grabbed her phone out of her pocket and started to record. Kelly. This shall settle a duel between the challenger, Vergil Sparda against Issei Hyoudou, both duelists, prepare. We both then grabbed our blades, readying to fight. Kelly. Start. The man stayed perfectly still, analyzing my movements carefully. I then decided to use my swift style and dashed using the dragon's blade. The man then suddenly appeared right before my eyes before using the handle of his sword to parry the dash and hitting my abdomen. Issei. Gaha. That hit was no human hit, this man is different. He then proceeded to do a combo with his katana. He swung the sheathed katana upright before swinging it down again, hitting my head, stunning me before unsheathing the katana with a powerful slash that made a giant gashing wound on my chest that is bleeding profusely. Kelly. Ice. My body then dropped to the ground as I struggled to get up. Issei. Arg. Kelly. Ice, please just stay down there, I have medkit in my backpack. The man then slowly approached me and knelt in front of me. Vergil. It seems I've won. He said in a stoic voice. His attitude and his emotions had no excitement, nothing at all. Issei. Heh, seems so, Sir Vergil. I didn't even stood a chance, darn, I'm so weak I didn't even last a minute in the fight, I'm an embarrassment, I hope you could forgive me, mother, father. I then slowly started to feel my conscience to fade away. Vergil. Rest well, young Hyoudou. Kelly. Please just rest, Ice. I then let my conscience fade away. Kelly. Kelly. Ice. The man that was kneeling in front of Ice then suddenly reached out his arm, a red and blue glow then appeared and a smoke mixed with red and blue color then began healing Issei's wound slowly. Vergil. Done, Hyoudou will be fine, I can assure of you, young Kelly, I shall carry Hyoudou to the manor and explain anybody inside it on what had happened. If any government decides to intervene, simply show them the footage of what you caught. The man commanded me. I then nodded my head and me and the mysterious man called Vergil head to the manor of the Hyoudous. Please Ice, don't die on me yet. Time skip. 3 days. Issei. Issei. Ooh. I then groaned, waking up from my slumber after the fight with the man called Vergil. I lost, that's right, he is my new adopted father, now as well a Hyoudou. If that was the case, it's no more Vergil Sparda, it's Vergil Hyoudou. Heh, I guess the man has years on end of experiences with a katana, his movements were far more sharper than my father and had more skill in them. Vergil. Seems you've woken up, Issei. I then looked around to see Vergil sitting on a chair drinking coffee while reading a book. Issei. Hello, Sir Vergil. Vergil. Good morning, Issei. At any rate, everything went smoothly, you don't have to worry about the public pestering you, you were asleep for 3 whole days. 3 whole days, what about Kelly, what happened to her? Vergil. Also, if you were wondering where the little girl is, she is right beside you. I then looked at my left to see Kelly sleeping peacefully holding my left arm, I then sighed of relief, knowing that she was safe the entire time. Vergil. Also. He then put down the cup of coffee on the table. Vergil. You might be wondering on why I wanted you, Hyoudou Ice. Well, he certainly was right, why would he take up all of his time just to get me? Issei. Yeah, why me though? Vergil. Let me get to the point, I wanted you to be my apprentice, you not only have the skill, speed, knowledge and also wise for a child, you are also a prodigy in your household, making all the more reason that you would be a valuable apprentice. Also, I guess you're my adopted child now, so enough for the formalities, okay Issei. Issei. Wait, if you wanted me to be your apprentice, couldn't have you just teach me instead and not having go through the headache of the public's opinions? Vergil then made a slightly saddened face. I wonder why, is it because he had a son back then or maybe a daughter? Whatever it may be, I won't ask ever again about it, I must respect their privacy. Issei. Sorry for asking suddenly, father. Father well, he is my new adopted family, so it's only natural. Vergil. It's fine Issei, I know you didn't mean to, take care of yourself Issei, also, you and the hacker Yuiku will be training under me from now on. Wait, how did he know about the supernatural? Issei. Father, you know of the supernatural. Vergil. Yes, I knew of its existence long and long ago, I've been attacked multiple times, but in the end, high-class or God-class beings aren't enough to take me down. God-class beings, just how powerful is this man? Vergil then made a smirk after realizing my shock on the fact he has fought God-class beings. Vergil then stood up picking his cup and his book. Vergil. Please rest up, later on, we will train Issei also Volley would like to have a talk with you. Sir Vergil, I hope you're not thinking of pulling crazy stunts out of nowhere. Location. Hyoudou Stadium. Issei. It's been a couple of days since the fateful meeting between Sir Vergil and Kelly. I have been training with Sir Vergil and Volley for days now, the training is extremely rough, Sir Vergil is an extremely powerful opponent, heck, I doubt that even the Satans themselves can even bring him down, nor heaven, he always looks so lax every time we train. Though from time to time he does end up actually being serious when me and Volley actually manage to push him to try and defend himself, so a success and progress. Not too sure, anyways. Vergil. Issei. I was then called out by Sir Vergil, and also the current leader of the Hyoudou clan, I have still much to learn, so having father do the current works of the political views, I can train myself and also learn more than what. Issei. Vergil. Is there anything that bothers you, son? Oh right, totally forgot that he is my adoptive father, sigh. It feels like a dream though, everything in the nick of time changed right before my own eyes, and suddenly I have a new father, well at least he isn't arrogant or anything of the sort, in fact if anything, he takes everything seriously, whether it be politics, discipline, combat, teaching. He is actually like one of those people fantasizing about all the time being the perfect man for the job, but I digress. Issei. Oh. Nothing, it's just that I'm just thinking to myself. Vergil. Whatever could you be thinking about, son? Issei. It's just that many things have changed over the past few days. Vergil. It seems so it has, but worry not Issei. He then grabbed my shoulder, caressing it. What a nostalgic feeling, a parent's love It's been a while since I've felt that. Issei. Thanks dad. Vergil. HMPH, you shouldn't worry such things at your age Issei, focus on yourself more, rather than your training. Issei. I get what you're trying to say but, I'm the… Vergil. The heir, the eldest son. I got cut off by my adoptive father's words and got surprised by his seriousness. Vergil. So what? What if you are the heir or the eldest son? Deep inside Issei, you are still you, people cannot take control of your personal decisions, and if you wish to do this certain thing then go for it, it's not like people themselves will stop you anyway, even training. Now I'm not saying you should stop training, but rather to tell you that you should spend more quality time for yourself. I'm extremely surprised by my father's words. I'm also touched that he truly cares for me. But in his voice, it seems like he felt the same thing, a burden of the heir or the eldest son, could he also be from a noble family as well? Well he certainly doesn't look like a Japanese, more rather a Western person, if that was the case, then why is he here? Doesn't he also have duties there? I'm very tempted to ask him but at the same time. Vergil. So. It seems you're curious about my past son? Issei. Vergil then sighed and made a smile with a grim face, he then made his way towards the window, seeing the scenery of the evening sun. Vergil. I too was once from a noble lineage, though it wasn't very noticeable, my father played a big role on a certain faction, I won't tell you what type of faction it is or any specific details for my own sake and your own, and that very specific faction was also our downfall, I also had a brother, a twin. You can say that he is your uncle though I doubt you would be able to see him and know he is in fact alive. Issei. So what happened between of you two and your families? Vergil. Our family was hunted down by the leader of the faction, my brother and I survived and our house burnt down and our mother died trying to save me. At least that's what I thought my brother told me. Issei. Save, what was she trying to save you from? Vergil. The assassins of the faction that my father served. Issei. But that doesn't make sense though. Why would they attack such valuable asset from their own unit? Let alone a noble. Vergil. It's because our father betrayed the faction before meeting our mother. What, but why? Why would their father betray his own faction? Was it out of selfish reasonings? Or was it because he was blackmailed? Or was it because the faction were actually forcing their father to do their works? Issei. But why? it doesn't make any sense. Vergil. Our father betrayed the faction because the faction leader and its inhabitants are crazed psychopaths thinking they can take over the world. The leader itself was no fool, he had extreme powers that could even rival gods. Issei. Was the leader a sacred gear user? Vergil. No, that man was no sacred gear user, he was the true embodiment of Satan himself, crazed, delusional, prideful, psychotic, cunning. I've crossed blades with him before in my days as a teen. Issei. Did you defeat him? Father's eyes then narrowed with a scowling look. Vergil. No, I was utterly defeated. My pride has gotten me to the point that thinking that my father managed to defeat him and thought surely that I can as well. Little did I know, I was extremely wrong. The man captured me and tortured me for years on end. What does he mean by years? Surely he doesn't literally mean he was entrapped and tortured for his days as a teenager, right? I then took a big gulp thinking about my father's sufferings and torture. Only one could imagine such scene, especially to think about the person has been tortured for years. Vergil. For years, that man has tortured me, venting all of his anger onto me because of my father's actions from the past. I endured everything. The sick psycho tortured me both physically and mentally till this day. I still remember everything that man has done to me. Father then held on to his blue diamond pendant. I then felt horrible about his past, not to mention I stuck my nose on territories I should not have been. Vergil. That's why ever since then, I always realized that without power, you are nothing, nothing more than a punching bag for the world to play with. Not a single shred of mercy will be given to you. After being tormented for years, somehow I managed to escape, but my body was dying, nearing its limits. I was on the verge of death. Issei. So how did you live? Vergil. I split myself in two. Issei. Huh. Father then shook his head. Vergil. My bad. I meant by splitting my souls in half. Issei. But how could one possibly split his or her soul? Vergil. You see, my katana, the Yamato, is no ordinary sword. My father crafted two swords for me and my brother. He wields the rebellion, though after our recent fights, apparently it evolved into a new type of sword. These swords are special. Mine has the power to cut through space itself and split a being's soul into two manifestations of their form. While my brother has the power to unleash the inner strength of a being and representing pure power. Issei. So, you're not human? Vergil. No. Issei. Then what are you, father? Father then turned around me with a solemn expression before sighing. Vergil. I'm a devil. No way father's a devil. Vergil. I was waiting for the perfect moment to tell you this, son. I knew you would grow suspicious on how I am this strong. It's only the matter of time you knew about this. I am a devil, a half-breed you can say. Issei. So your mother was a human? Vergil. Indeed. Issei. Wait, if your father was a devil then? Are you affiliated with the devil faction? Vergil. Let's say that it's a different type of faction. Yes, there are demons, and some are, well, never mind, that's not the point. The point is, that faction that my father served was similar to the devil faction, but a lot more stronger. Vergil. But, I wouldn't want you to go through what I went through as well. Issei, you can live your life as much as you want while you're young and enjoy it. Issei. I've already lost two people that I could have potentially prevented dying, and to ensure that never happens again, I must become stronger, no matter the cost. Vergil. Issei, I can more than assure you that I am more than capable of defending myself and you. I can even say that I could defend this entire faction and your lover's faction as well. I blushed at my father's words. Vergil. Well, Issei, it seems we still have time in our hands. Let us continue, shall we? Father then swapped the open personality of his back to his cold-hearted one. It sent shivers down my spine, but regardless, I readied for a stance and waited for my father to strike. Location. Vergil's mind. Of. Griffin. Griffin. I never thought Vergil himself would be this caring. Maybe he really meant his words by being a better person or a better father. You're really gonna go far, V. Maybe this is your redemption in life. Deadbeat Nero might not be able to feel the love you're giving this kid, but he will be damn proud if he knew that you decided to change. Never thought the kid would get this far with the V-man himself. He was always so boring and stoic, always giving that lone wolf vibe. I mean, it does look cool, but at the same time having the same type of flavor gets boring easily. But then again, his charms never fail for women to fawn over him, and because of it Deadbeat Nero was born. Griffin. We were supposed to die off after Vergil was once whole again, but after the incident and going to this new dimension, he really has gotten soft, huh? Hi do Ice, you're one interesting brat, I'll give you that. You better not fucking disappoint me in the future, kid. After all, me and the gang are just waiting for you to be stronger. The shadow below me then manifested into a form of a black leopard and a giant mass of black goo, then started to bubble up and began forming into a giant behemoth golem-like figure. Ugh, disgusting, but it works, I guess. Griffin. Heh, seems like you boys are with me still, eh? The black leopard roared at me, while the golem figure just nodded with its small head. Griffin. What do you think of the kid, Shadow? The leopard then yawned and lied back down, ignoring my question. What a lazy feline this one is. Griffin. Ugh, will you just answer my damn fucking question already, Shadow? I then looked at the giant golem, who looked at me, tilting its head. Griffin. Sigh. What about you, Nightmare? What do you think about the kid? The golem just stood there looking at me before starting to make noise with its goo-making bubble noises. Griffin. You think the kid's gonna be stronger than Vergil? Nightmare nodded at my question. Griffin. Interesting thought process. Well, it's not that far off to think the kid will actually beat Vergil with no time at all. As the Big V man himself said, the kid's got talent, but I doubt he is gonna have an easy life, considering we just bumped into him in his life. We're supernatural magnets. Power attracts power, a calling that has been made for centuries on end. Soon this kid, despite having Vergil being his father, will suffer a fate worser than death. For now, time has been acting rather quiet. The impending doom is starting for the Hyoudou heir. Soon the misery will begin. I do hope your resilience will still persist, despite being consumed by hardships. Hyoudou. Location. Hyoudou Manor. Of. Issei. After talking to father, I decided to look for Volley for someone to talk to as I was getting bored. Kelly left a while ago without saying anything to us. Apparently she was called by her parents and was needed due to political reasons on their clan. I then walked to father's office to find my personal butler, who could possibly know the place where Volley might be at, though he may be busy at the moment, but it's worth a shot. I then found my way into the office and saw old butler with gray hair and a mustache, wearing a hat, black suit with a blue bow tie. It was our personal butler in the Hyoudou family, serving for over 20 years. He was Rose True Ziegler. He has been taking care of me ever since mother and father passed away. Thanks to him, I still am alive and helped me go through my griefs. Ziegler. Ah, young master. Issei. Ziegler, I come to ask a question. Ziegler. What is it, young master? Issei. Have you seen Volley anywhere? I have been searching for him and it seems I haven't found him. I would like to talk to him to pass time. Ziegler then rubbed his mustache with his eyes closed, thinking. Ziegler. I'm sorry, young master, but I do not remember where Sir Volley is, though I doubt he would have left. I then made a sad expression with a fake smile. Issei. Is that so? Well, that would be all, Ziegler. Thank you for being so truthful with me. Ziegler then bowed as I looked at him with a confused expression. Ziegler. I'm sorry, young master. I will be more vigilant next time and will inform where he is, but for now please accept my apology. Issei. Oh, please don't be. I do not blame you for the lack of his presence. It would be fine. Ziegler, raise your head. I ensured the butler. Ziegler. If you wish so, young master. I then nodded to him and continued my way down to find Volley. Before I could go, Ziegler grabbed my shoulder. I then turned around facing him to acknowledge his attention. He then coughed on his hand and gave me note. It seemed like an invitation. What could this be? Ziegler. Ahem. It seems Kyoto's most influential people would like an audience with you. I thought I could tell you this, so that way you may tell Sir Vergil for this invitation. They may want to talk about your heritage, young master. Please consider this. Alright, after Vergil, I mean. Father had inherited the Hyoudu's name, gossips, and also multiple people have come to see the problems, and also the rumors about the prodigy of the Hyoudou, Akami, have lost to someone, let alone a commoner, man. After father told me that, I was in total stressed out mode, but father assured he would handle all the problems, so I entrusted it to him. But that didn't mean that I was carefree after that incident. Great gods no, the sheer amount of paperwork in the Hyoudou office works was absurd. Issei. Alright, Ziegler, I thank you for your service once more. I shall inform father into this. Ziegler. Think nothing of it, young master. Issei. Being a heir ahead is a bumpy road. Isn't it? I said before chuckling and going into father's office. The office itself was pretty normal, containing a desk with a computer and an abundance of paperworks for tomorrow. Sigh. Father is over here teaching me about worrying my own youth and time while he's over here doing this amount of work. Sigh. Sometimes I can't help but say he's a hypocrite or just be thankful. It's quite concerning on how he'd do all of this by himself sometimes, but then again he is a devil. Issei. Father is not present in this room for now, it seems. I then checked the room out of curiosity as to what father was on up about at the moment. This place was my biological father's workplace back then before he and mother died. He was a marine biologist who studied mostly dolphins, whales, starfishes and also axolotls. He was fascinated by the axolotls' ability to generate severed limbs and such and thought it would be a great idea to research them. And with his fascination to his research on axolotls, it also seems it has grown to me as he comes home. He would always come with something once he comes back from his trip out in the world researching and documenting these creatures, and one of those days, he actually brought me a pet axolotl named Hako, who is still very alive to this day. I then stumbled upon a picture of my mother and father on the shelf that was full of my father's pictures and his achievement awardees before I was born. They were on a business trip back then. I then picked up the picture that contained the last remaining jewels that this family once had back then. If only I could take it back and restart. But sadly, that is something I could never do or reach. I then put it back down and stopped in my tracks as I saw an old book that had a letter V in the middle of the book with golden designs. I've never seen a book like this before, but it could be from Father Vergil. Issei. Weird, I've never seen this book before. I then opened the book to see the contents full of poems by the poet, William Blake, one of the most well-known people for his poets and paintings by his visionary on romanticism. I then looked at one of the pages that had a bookmark on it. The page was titled, "The fly. Little fly. Thy summer's play. Thy thoughtless hand has brushed away. Am not I the fly like thee? Or art not thou a man like me? For I dance and drink and sing till some blind hand shall brush my wing. The thought is life and strength and breath, and the want of thought is death. Then am I a happy fly if I live or if I die." Ah, it's truly a beautiful poem, a poem that shows the shortness and feeble of one's life. Come to think of it, maybe me and father aren't so different after all. He lost his parents in a more tragic way than I did though. I do wonder on how father's parents looked like. It's a shame that life is always so unpredictable. Clomp 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 clomp. Footsteps were then heard approaching the Hyoudou office works little by little. Issei. The door to the office then opened to reveal the person to be father, who was surprised that I was presented in the room. Vergil. Oh, it seems you were here by chance. Issei. Oh yes. Vergil. Speaking of which, what were you doing here, Ice? Issei. I was looking for you. There was an invitation on Kyoto's most influential people. The meeting spot was on the Jion district of Kyoto. Father's eyes were then covered by his hair bangs as his hands clenched with veins showing up, clearing, showing a sign of hostility. Issei. Father. I asked nervously. Father looked like he was about to burn the world with his face. His face still had the stoic-like person he is, but deep inside, I can feel the burning anger rising beyond incomprehensible levels within him. Father then realized what he was exuding when he was so caught up on whatever he was thinking of, another reason not to tick off father in any kind of way. Father then shook his head before apologizing to me. Vergil. I'm sorry about that one, Ice. Issei. Is there any hate going on relating towards the Kyoto residents and you? Vergil. Maybe. But don't be concerned for me, okay? You should worry for yourself at the moment. I wouldn't like to lose you to them. Father then gently took the invitation from my hand before signaling to come and leave the office. Soon we then arrived at the living room. Dishes were seen to be prepared for people to use them. Vergil. Dinner's ready by the way, feel free to eat at any time. I nodded to father. Issei. Have you seen Vali anywhere, father? Vergil. I found him near the rose garden outside. I don't know if he is still out there, but considering he hasn't returned, go try and find him. I then nodded before going to the back door to the rose garden, who then apparently Vali was presented. Location. Rose garden. Of. Issei. I was walking my way to the rose garden which Vali was supposed to be, but I could not find him anywhere. I wonder what happened to him. If anything comes, I must aid him. Walking down a lengthy path to the other parts of the garden, I can slowly feel his energy signature. His signature feels weak, almost as if he is weak. I then ran as fast as I could to the energy signature that leads to Vali. Issei. Vali. I screamed. A sudden voice then reached out to me. Calm yourself. Issei. Who are you? For my name is not important if you wish to save the White One. Issei. Save Vali. Indeed, for the White One is in the brink of death. Follow my instructions, and shall you win. Issei. Anything. Tell me what I need to do and I shall do it as clear as day, I beg. Steady your soul and heighten your will. Your blade is your guidance to it. Trust its instinctive messages. Steady my soul. What does that mean? Your soul and emotions reacts to it. Soon you will acquire power you could have never imagined. We shall meet again, child. Do not forget my message that I have warned you. Should you fail this, the world may crumble because of it. Issei. What does that mean? Soon enough. I was embraced by the silence that engulfed the entire garden and my surroundings in the dead of the night. At this point I had nowhere else to go. If the message was truly real, then I have no choice but to go in and fight. I ran and ran and ran just to hopefully and desperately see and find if Vali was present in any of my line of sight. After a few minutes of running I saw a group of people. Devils. I then hid at one of the bushes and trying to contain all of my power and aura to not attract their attention, although one of them stood out the most out of the devil group, a man that looked in his 40s. He had grabbed Vali's hair as Vali struggled to escape his grasp. That's right, I saw were a group of devils and a man that had white hair similar to Volley, a man that had a dark grayish hair and hazel eyes with a longer beard and hair, wearing the same armor and attire of the rulers of hell, though with a silver color instead. The ho-ho. Well, it seems my bratty grandson has been caught after hiding in some Japanese garden. Too bad I won hide and seek son. He then intensified his grasp on Volley's head, causing him to scream in pain. Volley. Ah. Ahahahahaha. The area was then filled at the laughter of the devils who mocked at the suffering young Lucifer. Whatever you were hoping for, Volley-kun, you won't escape me, you hear me? You can't escape me. He says with a psychotic smile. I was clenching my own fist out of anger, but if I go there and fight the group, I know that I can't match them up with my own. I then slowly started to move little by little at the other bushes to find an opening to cut the man at once and escape with Volley. Well, Volley, now that you are here, you do know what I am here for, right? That's right, I'm here for your head. If only your father had the guts and didn't cower to kill you, this wouldn't have happened. Seriously, if he didn't act like a massive pussy, we wouldn't even be here right now. He then grabs Volley in the neck with his other hand, slowly choking him. But now that I finally found you, it's your end of the line. End of your line. Volley was trying to punch the man's face and even tried scratching and claw his way out of his grasp, but to no avail. Sheeing, divide, divvy. The divine dividing gear was then shut down by an unknown reason. The unknown man then slams Volley into the ground, making a small crater, causing him to puke out blood and almost fall unconscious. Slam. Oh my stupid grandson, didn't you forget that I have the sacred gear canceller? Even if you have one of the heavenly dragon's sacred gears, it wouldn't matter since I can cancel it. It's utterly pathetic. He said before tossing him into the side near my bush. This is my chance to grab him and run. Well then, guards. Please do your best and contain him as much as possible. After all, it would be hard to get the divine dividing. His sickening smile only grew as he mentions to rip out his own grandson's power. I cannot let that happen. Volley would only die if that were to happen. I must save him immediately. The guards then formed a circle, and the other half began to chant a spell that can subdue Volley's remaining power and to fully contain him. Soon, when we have the power of the Hakuryuku, we will be unstoppable. For now you will have to endure the pain for now, Volley. Sheeing. The spell was done and the soldiers were fully laxed. Whoosh. I dashed and grabbed Volley in the ground and carried him in a piggyback style and kept running without looking back. Devil 1. Hey, a kid got the brat, get em boys. We wouldn't want to get killed by that damn psychotic fucker out here. Run. That was the only thing I had in my head, to run and get the hell away from this hellish place and call for father's help. Whoosh. The ball of demonic energy was then fired and narrowly almost hitting my head. I then made I run for the other pathway to take a detour to the forest. It was the fastest way to the way to our manor. I just had to survive the onslaught of these devils and avoid them. I then ducked, narrowly avoiding another demonic ball of energy. Devil 2. Oh no, you don't. The second devil threw a spear-like energy at the side, causing it to explode and making me fall off my balance and dropping Volley on the ground. Kaboom. Cathode. Issei. Ah. Devil 2. This is the end, kid, you shouldn't have interfered with us. He then raised his with another demonic spear, with the intent to impale me and kill me on the spot. Wham tack. I rolled to the side, avoiding the spear for it to hit the grass, as I tried to get on my grounding and readying my stance. Issei. You leave me no choice then, okay, let's dance. I said before taking a stance. Devil 1. Grrr, you fucking brat, don't get so high and cocky just because you have a fancy ass sword. Issei. You sure talk a lot of garbage for someone with crappy aim. The devils got aggravated and second one fired only me to deflect the shots while dodging and weaving from side to side, and also using the trees and branches to hide and use them to boost myself to make myself harder to aim at. The first one then was beyond mad and decided to charge a demonic spear, which he poured a lot of his energy in it. Devil 1. Die, you piece of shit. The spear was going at me at an alarming rate. I didn't know what to do at this point. The spear had a lot of demonic energy poured into it, and if we're to make a contact to any physical object, it would explode of about 10 meters and would definitely affect me and Volley. What should I do next? Steady your soul and heighten your will. Your blade is your guidance to it. Trust its instinctive messages. Issei. Time felt still and slow. I didn't know what that person meant, or even if it was a person, but what did he mean when he told me those exact same words? Steady your soul and heighten your will. Trust its instinctive messages. The spear was about to hit me until. Boom. Clyang. Kaboom. I threw my blade in the air and catching it, having the blade at the back, swung its blade at the spear, cutting it in half as the halved spear then hit the nearby mountains, damaging it. The sound of a sword splitting a weapon in half and the mountains exploding have began to rung, alerting the nearby people and animals. Father, please, if you're out there, I beg, hear my desperate pleas. Find us. For now I must hold longer and wait patiently for rescue to arrive. This might be the end of me, but if I disable the fact the world will end, it will be worth it and a valiant sacrifice. It seems the end of my family is near. The only regrets is that I failed to become the ideal son and student to father. If only I had a little bit more power in me, I could have saved Volley without the help from others. But now it's me and them. Devil 3. Get the fucking kid now. Issei. Come get me, devil freaks. Hey Location. Outside the Hyoudou Manor. Of. Vergil. It has nearly been an hour since Issei decided to head off into the woods to find the hacker Hyoudou, but he hasn't returned since then. Boom. Clying. Kaboom. The sound of metal and explosion was faintly heard in the woods where Issei was going in the gardens in the middle of the night. Suddenly Griffin appeared and suggested that I let him and Shadow run around to find Issei on woods, which I complied immediately. Vergil, mind. I will not lose someone dear from me again, not a damn chance. I then began panicking, wondering on what could have happened to Issei. I hurriedly grabbed the Yamato from the wall and started to run, and using my abilities to find Issei's energy signature, along with Shadow and Griffin. I then saw Issei fighting desperately to fend off a devil group. His clothes were torn and cuts and bruises was presented in his body. The hacker Hyoudou was lying down on the ground unconscious as Issei was struggling to keep up with the devils. I then immediately sent Griffin and Shadow to ambush half of the group, which consisted 20 of them as a whole. Pablum crack crack. Griffin then smited 4 and decided to go and fight off 6 more of them, while Shadow kills off 6 of them by slicing off their head by using their shadows as a sneak attack. Griffin. Hahaha cablo fucker. Vergil. Aren't you enjoying this a bit too much, Griffin? Griffin. Oh come on. It's been ages since we last fought an opponent. Last time we fought was when we fought your big goofy devil hunter brother back in our world. Give us some slack sometimes. Vergil. Sadly I've been giving you too much slack. Griffin. Ugh, whatever Shakespeare. The remaining devil group noticed our presence. Issei had a smile on his wounded face before lying down to ground, eventually passing out. Issei. So you did came after all, haha. I knew you wouldn't let me go. All on you now, father. He said before passing out. Vergil, mind. Issei, you were waiting for me all this time. At this point I was boiling in rage. I did not care the restrictions anymore. I will show them true fear to the point they will regret and lament their decisions of ever showing here. I concentrated my energy in a deep light blue aura in my chest. 4 wings then sprouted from my back, folded in the same manner of my coat. Blue arm-mounted blades appeared, and a reptilian tail with a barbed tip that extended from my shoulders, while my head slowly becomes into a demonic and dragon-like samurai helmet with horns growing, venting my demonic energy that resembles exhaust. Boam kaboosh. Devil 3. Who the fuck are you? Vergil SDT. Your death. I unsheathed the Yamato while dashing forward faster than the speed of light, cutting their legs off as they screamed in pain. They tried to escape with their wings, but crouched slightly and slowly grabbed the handle of the Yamato and immediately dashed forward and cut the area's space while avoiding Issei and the hacker Hyoudou. Vergil SDT. All will fall. Soon the reality began repairing itself and the bodies of the devils were cut into pieces, slowly disintegrating into ash and dust. Clap clap clap. Bravo, bravo my friend. The voice then appeared at my back, applauding of my victory and the annihilation of the devil group. I then turned around with a menacing glare with my deep light blue eyes to see an old man with white hair that resembled the hacker Hyoudou. Vergilsdt. You? I asked him. Vergilsdt. Were you the one behind this? Do not lie, old man, I've been tested with my patience for far too long, tell me now. Boo-ho-ho. It seems you have guts, mister. I don't know who you are, but you're not a devil who we're recorded to be a super devil. No, saying you're a super devil is far of a weaker title, isn't it? After all, despite me being the oh so cheerful grandpa I am still smart, you know. This man is ticking me off with his cheerful nature. So how about I give a new title to such a devil as yourself who could literally obliterate the Mayus without even trying a new title by little all me. After all, I am the son of the original Morning Star, so it's only natural. So how about it? Your new title would be Ultra Devil. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching and supporting us. See you in the next part.